So by using that fluke style trailer, I can maintain, you know, that 1 to 1.5 feet off the bottom distance all the way back to the boat and keep that bait in the strike zone longer by using that straight style trailer. And the other trailer I use a lot is a swim bait style trailer like I have here on this Jackhammer Chatterbait. So this is a Damiki Armor Shad swim bait. It is a 5-inch, and it's just to me it's a great swim bait trailer, and something you want to pay attention to. And the reason I like this swim bait trailer so much is it has a smaller tail on it than a lot of swim baits. If you use a swim bait trailer with too big of a tail, it fights against the action of the blade. So you're kind of defeating the purpose of a chatterbait and a swim bait combination, because the blade's wanting to thump this way, and then you've got a tail wanting to thump this way on the back of the bait, and they're kind of working against each other, and they kill a lot of your action and a lot of your vibration. So if you go with a smaller, thinner swim bait trailer like this Damiki Armor Shad, you're going to be able to maintain that hard thump you want with the chatterbait, plus you're going to have that action of the swimming tail on the back of your chatterbait. So to me, that Damiki Armor Shad swim bait is the perfect chatterbait swim bait trailer. And this trailer is another one that you can fish deeper or you can fish shallow. You can vary the weight of the chatterbait or vary your line size, but it just kind of gives it a different look. And one of my favorite times to throw this combination is during a shad spawn. I love to have that little bit of extra kick from the tail of that Armor Shad swim bait on a chatterbait during a shad spawn. My number one go-to is the Damiki Knockout. The first thing I like to do with this bait is I pull the side appendages off, which is going to create less drag and allow that bait to excuse me, maintain a steady slow roll, which is something I like to do when I'm throwing a crawfish colored chatterbait. I rarely ever find myself burning a brown or bluegill imitating chatterbait or crawfish imitating chatterbait. It's always one that I can slow roll and maybe even stop and let it fall back to the bottom to maintain that strike zone of where those fish are going to be around rocks or where bluegill are going to be or something like that. So I remove those first 2 side appendages, and then I take and I remove the 2 air pockets. So now I've got a fully customizable trailer. Started out as a Damiki Knockout. I've took all the drag increasing elements off of it, so I'm going to be able to slow roll that bait better. And now I have a chatterbait that is going to mimic a bluegill better. It's going to mimic the tail of a bluegill. It's going to kick sideways instead of up and down, and that's going to allow that bait to kind of just imitate the forage the bass are feeding on better. What I'm going to show you now is some little tips and tricks on how I work a chatterbait. I've got this chatterbait. This is the 1/2 ounce jackhammer. I've got the 4-inch Damiki Armor Shad swim bait on the back of it. The color I've got on it is Tennessee Shad. It's a spot remover colored chatterbait. I've got it on 20-pound P-Line Tactical fluorocarbon, my signature series frog rod with a Revo STX reel. This is a 7.3 to 1 gear ratio. And to me, this is the perfect setup for fishing deep and shallow. Very versatile rod. It's got enough tip I can skip it very accurately under the docks, make long skips, but it's also stout enough if I choose to throw it offshore, I can make long casts and get a hook and fish from a long distance out deep. So we're going to start on this dock here, and pretty much I fish it just like I would a square bill and a jig combined. So as I explained in an earlier video with a square bill, I want to 45 these columns on these docks. It's the same thing with that chatterbait. I want to make 45-degree angle casts that are going to come right beside that pole, and then when I get up close to the dock, I want to make a cast parallel down the outside edges of it, because a lot of times fish will suspend underneath these black floats and they'll lay just right underneath them. This dock's fairly shallow, 5 or 6 feet deep, and those fish will suspend right underneath those floats. So you make your 45-degree cast across the ends, make your parallel cast down each side, and you can see this dock's got a nice hole underneath this jet ski, or excuse me, this ski boat that offers you a good skip cast to put your chatterbait up under the darkest part of this dock. So we're gonna make that cast right quick. And what I like to do is let it sink down a couple of feet. I don't want it to go all the way to the bottom, because when I'm throwing a shad colored bait Very rarely do you see shad just swimming along on the bottom. They're usually up a little higher in the water column. So shad colored baits, I let it sink down a couple of feet and then begin my retrieve.